Welcome. Oh, thank you. Welcome to Friends of Scouting Training, February 20th, 2025. We appreciate you being here. This council has not done uh, what I would call a Friends of Scouting campaign, especially at the family and community level, probably for at least a couple of years, maybe even the last one really strong was before COVID. So we're going to try to start FOS back up, and it's not we don't want to use pressure tactics or anything, but we do think we need to give families and communities an opportunity to support the scouting mission. So let's move on. So before we start, um, Justin Lewis, if I think everybody here knows Justin, but Rainier District Chair, he's got a little message that he wanted us to share. So we'll start with that first. If you can't hear the sound, let me know, but it should be.
Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Lewis, and I am the Rainier District Chair. As volunteers, we know the impact this program has on youth. And Friends of Scouting ensures that every child has access to those life-changing experiences. When I came up with my presentation, I wanted to tell a story rather than just stick to the facts and the numbers. Parents and leaders need to understand why scouting matters and how their support makes a difference. This particular presentation was given to a PAC at their Blue and Gold banquet that I'm involved with as one of their committee members. As you watch this example presentation, notice how it is structured. It starts with a personal connection. It explains why Friends of Scouting is important, and it makes a clear ask for support. The goal is to inspire families to invest in scouting, not just financially, but by recognizing the value it brings to their children. So let's dive in. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justin Lewis, and I am the Rainier District Chair and your PAC's training chair, to name a few of my roles. I'm excited to be here with you today to celebrate this special Blue and Gold banquet. Today is all about recognizing the adventures that our scouts have had, the skills they have learned, and the friendships that they have built. I know firsthand how life-changing scouting can be because I've been a part of this program for the most of my life. One of the experiences that I remember most vividly when I was a Cub Scout myself was attending a Cub Scout camporee at Winnebago Scout Reservation in New Jersey. The theme that year was Knights of the Round Table, and for a young scout, it was like stepping back into a medieval adventure. We built castles, took part in jousting games as much as you can as a Cub Scout, and completed challenges that tested our teamwork and scout skills. That weekend sparked my imagination. It strengthened my friendships, and it made me feel like I was part of something special, something truly special. Looking back, I realize it wasn't just about fun. It was about learning. It was about confidence, leadership, and it was about perseverance. And that's what scouting does. It creates unforgettable moments that shape young lives. But those experiences don't happen without support. Scouting is a volunteer-led program, but it takes resources to provide the camps, to provide the training and programs that make it so special. Friends of Scouting is our way of making sure that every child, no matter their family situation, can have the best scouting experience possible. Your support helps keep Camp Thunderbird and council-owned facilities open and well-maintained. It provides training to our dedicated leaders. It offers financial assistance so that no child has to miss out on scouting. It supports local programs like day camps, Pinewood Derbies, and advancements. I know not every family can make a big donation, and that's totally okay. But even a small sacrifice can make a huge difference for our scouts. Think about this. If you skip just one fancy coffee, one fast food meal, or one streaming rental each month, that savings of just $5 or $10 a month could keep a scout in the program. It could fund leader training or maintain a camp for future adventures. If scouting has made a difference in your child's life, I encourage you to give what you can, whether it's $10, $25, or $50. Your donation helps our PAC, it helps our council, and most importantly, it helps our scouts. There are pledge cards on your tables. I'd love for you to take a moment to look them over. You can give a one-time donation, or you can spread it out over the entire year. You can even do recurring donations every month, on and on
Yeah,
and
I'm
on,
meaning
as much
the
as you
Cub Scout
want.
pack.
We are all here today because we care about our kids and the values that they are learning in scouting. Your gift helps keep the adventure going for your child, for their friends, and for future scouts to come. Thank you for being a part of this incredible program, and thank you for anything you can do to support Friends of Scouting. Well, that's it. As you prepare to give your own presentation for your own Friends of Scouting presentation, remember to keep it personal. Speak from the heart. Make a clear ask and tailor it to the event. You don't want to talk about a blue and gold banquet at a troop court of honor. Every dollar raised stays right here. It supports our local camp. It supports leader training, and it makes sure that every child has the opportunity to be a scout, no matter what their financial situation is. Thank you for taking the time to go through this training, and thank you for stepping up to support scouting in this way. Your passion and your dedication make all the difference. Now, go out there, make your presentation count. Thank you, and have a great day.
Uh, There we go. So Justin not only made an introduction, but he gave his example and of how to do a presentation. And we appreciate that. We're going to show you another one at the end that's a little bit different. The key thing, and we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, is to kind of make the presentation. If you're going to go out and do a presentation, make this presentation your own and add your own little flair to it, but kind of staying within the confines of what we're asking to be presented. We do not want a presentation that goes 15, 20 minutes. We're trying to keep them around 5 minutes. Justin's was like 5 minutes and 23 seconds long, that video, but the first 30 seconds was him talking about how to do a presentation. So, but we think it's important that especially for people who have never done a Friends of Scouting presentation, this part is not part of the presentation that we've developed for volunteers to use if they go to a unit. This is just what we want volunteers to know so that they can be smart when they go to the units. So what is FOS? I think everybody on this call right now knows, but annual fundraising campaign that supports local Scouting America councils. And then it also helps fund programs, camps, training, resources that benefit youth in scouting. FOS is typically direct donations from families, businesses, community members who believe in the mission of scouting. They are unrestricted general donations. If somebody wants to restrict their donation for a specific cause, then we have to know that. But generally, Friends of Scouting donations go directly to the operating fund of the council to use as it sees fit to cover the scouting program. And then, of course, each local council runs their own FOS campaign to cover the costs of providing scouting experiences. And every council that has an FOS campaign uses their funds for camp operations and maintenance, training for youth and adult leaders, scholarships, financial assistance for families in need. Here in this council, I think most of you are familiar with the Growing Leaders Fund, and we have a campership fund. And since I have been here, we have not denied a single youth assistance if it's been asked from us, either from camperships or from the Growing Leaders Fund. So, and the only way we can do that is if we keep the pot of money designated for those funds full or available. And then, of course, program development and support for local scouting activities, developing events and plans and things like that. So let me move on. Why Friends of Scouting? Membership fees that we charge or that BSA charges does not alone cover the full cost of scouting. FOS does help us bridge the financial gap and ensure that all youth have access to the scouting program. And of course, many units hold presentations during meetings or events to encourage participation and highlight impact of donations. I know the best time to do Friends of Scouting presentations because I was a volunteer at a district level and was the FOS chair for 3 years. It is at a Blue and Gold or a Court of Honor because that's where most of the parents will be attending. So if we can get someone in to do a presentation at one of those two events, if not, then we just have to figure out a good time to contact that unit or visit that unit and make sure that they have as many parents present as possible. When a unit participates in FOS, it demonstrates a commitment to the greater scouting movement. And that's important. They understand that it's not just something for their child or their pack, but we really need to support the greater scouting movement as a whole. Encouraging families and supporters to donate fosters a sense of unity and shared responsibility in making scouting successful. It's also important that if whoever is doing that presentation, look at it from the parent perspective and knowing what they're thinking already. Because I know as a parent, when I became a parent instead of a youth, or even as an adult volunteer, and I actually had kids in the program, I had the same questions about Friends of Scouting when it was first presented to me. National registration fees. A lot of people don't see a difference between the council and the national office. They just see them giving themselves, they see giving $85 per year for their youth, or $80 or $65 per year for themselves or for leaders. And they don't draw a difference between council or national office, because that money to them seems like it's coming to the council, especially if they're paying their fees through the council. It's important that they understand we don't see a cent of that. That all goes to the national office to pay for the development of the program and for the overhead that they also have. Unit dues and expenses, that varies by unit. Every committee gets to set their own dues. Some have none. Some I've heard up to $250, $300 a year. So that is something that the local unit decides to cover what program they want. I do typically find, though, is that units that charge zero either do a lot of fundraising or don't have a good program. And the units that may charge $200 a year tend to have better programs and offer more awards and things to do. So there's to me, there's a correlation between the unit dues and what they offer in general, or for the most part. They also see that they have to pay for camping and events. I know I do the budgets every year with the field team for every event that we have. And those costs or those fees that we charge for camping or for an event, weekend event, whatever it may be, are typically covering direct expenses only. It doesn't cover things like electricity and the cost of maintaining the camp if we're holding an event there, or the staff time that's involved, or the fees that we have to pay to the bank for processing things. So we try to keep that to the direct costs. We do make a little bit off each event, but it does not, if we had to include everything else that goes into what actually runs that event, it would be significantly more. And I always tell people, if you're not sure, go look and see what a week of camp costs at other youth camping facilities. And it's usually at least 5 times more than what we charge. Obviously, parents are always looking at uniforms. That can be anywhere from $50 for just the shirt up to $150, depending what they want to outfit their child with. And the books too as well. If they have to buy equipment, tents, backpacks, sleeping bags, but boy, I put a comma between sleeping bag. If they have to buy those things, they know that's an initial expense, but it is something that they can use for the next 10 years, and it is their equipment. Scout Life, if they choose to get the Scout Life subscription. And then, of course, personal expenses. Got to take my kid to the meeting. I got to take my scout to the camp or whatever it may be. And those are always expenses that families look at. And of course, this is something that councils did not used to be able to do, but in the last, I think since COVID, National has changed their bylaws to allow councils to charge a program fee. A lot of this came out of councils not being able to raise the money that they needed. And this was kind of to help offset that. I know councils, they can charge up to the total registration fee. So they can, councils can go up to $85 per year. And I think that's even changed where they can go more. Our fee last year in 2024 was $30. The board looked at that and saw the shortfall in the budget and put together, they actually had a team of volunteers that got together and discussed this, run by Rebecca Vader, our membership VP. And they decided that they were going to do an incremental increase. So this year will be 40, next year will be 50, but there's no plans to go past that. And if we meet budget, they'll relook at this. If we meet paying off all of our expenses and a balanced budget, they will relook at whether the fee needs to continue or not. So this is where FOS becomes very important, because if we can raise enough to where we don't have to charge a fee, the board will relook at that, and we could actually reduce that fee instead of increasing it. So that's why FOS is also very important in that aspect. Funding the council. I think I said this a little bit earlier, but the council has to be completely self-sufficient. We get zero money from national. We are an independent, even though we fall under the umbrella of the National BSA, we work like or Scouting American. I got to get used to that. Even though we fall under their umbrella, we are still a separate entity legally with our own 501c 501c tax identification number. And everything that we do is run locally by the board and a president. So we have to raise all funds locally. We don't get it anywhere else. The cost per scout is actually about $500 annually. We get $40 up front when they register. Everything else has to be raised locally. Now, we do a good job, I believe, and like I said, I've been on both sides of the fence as a volunteer and as a professional, and most councils do a good job of figuring out other ways so we don't have to do as much Friends of Scouting. The $40 council program fee covers about 11% of our expenses. We have investments and an endowment, and an endowment we can draw from, and we do every year. I believe it's the board can authorize up to 4% draw off our endowment as needed, but we can't go. We have to draw. The draw cannot be more than what the interest is made on the endowment, so there's some control there. But that usually covers about 12% of our budget. Special fundraising events. You've probably been have received several emails or have seen on Facebook. We've got like the annual clay event. We've got the dinner and auction. There's a couple other events coming up this year. Those are considered special fundraising events whenever we go out and get sponsors for those events. We raise about 16% of our annual budget that way. Product sales is the popcorn and the camp cards, which covers about 15% of the budget. And then through camping and activities, we average about 30% return to council on those events. And then other miscellaneous sources, it could be a gift from sorry, it's just random stuff that comes in, different support and stuff. But at the end of the day, and this has been true the last 2 years because we haven't really had a strong FOS campaign, we have about a 10 to 12% gap, and that's what Friends of Scouting is. We're hoping will help us at least close some of that gap this year, and that's why we're really trying to get some synergy going back into the Friends of Scouting program. I mean, Friends of Scouting program. So what we have developed, and there's a few things here that we're still working on, but what we've developed is resources for those that are going to do a Friends of Scouting campaign. They're going to be on our website under resources, Friends of Scouting, and we will start posting those there soon. But there's and I will show you some of these after I go through this list, but there's a Friends Scouting presentation script that matches the PowerPoint presentation. And then we're also going to, there's only 4 slides. We tried to keep it as simple as possible. 4 slides. We're also going to make presentation boards, just like a poster board, that those that are doing Friends of Scouting can take those to a meeting. You don't need to take PowerPoint. You need to not do anything fancy. We're going to go really low tech. And what I used to do is take those boards with me and ask for youth volunteers to come up and hold the boards for me, so the parents are focused on the kids and not talking to each other. They're watching what their kids are doing. So that works really well. There's only going to actually be 2 boards. They're going to be printed front and back, so they're going to be easy to get to things. And then when you get to slide 2, you'll be able to just have the kid flip it, and it's fun, especially with Cub Scouts, watching them try to flip the board. It keeps the audience entertained a little bit too as well. We do have an ask letter template for businesses and organizations that we're going to be giving to the district finance committees that want to go out and see if they can get some local businesses or organizations to donate. It'll be a template available that can be adjusted to putting the organization or business name at the top, and then we want whoever's doing the ask from the district to put their name on the bottom and maybe their district chair. We want it to be very personalized, because a lot of those people that live in those communities and know those businesses, an ask coming from someone they know or one of their customers goes a lot better than Darren Nicholson at the council office going up to, to Umenclaw and asking a local business or an organization to give money. It comes a lot, it's received a lot better when it's done through somebody that they already know or somebody local. We do have an FOS unit resource or unit presentation resource guide. I'm about 80% done with it. I needed some more information, so that will be there hopefully in the next week. And then, as you saw, we have one presentation sample video that Justin did, and I'll show you another one that Rachel did at the end. And then we're in the process of putting together kits. I know Rachel's got some like 90% done, but inside the kits, we'll have a laminated script. We'll have the pledge forms, the pins, the envelopes, and we also have some instant recognition items. For some of you that have been around, we have boxes full of the council shoulder patches going back to 2009, 2011 that just say character counts or anything. It's not part of the current FOS recognition patches, the 12-year cycle that we're in right now. But if somebody, and I'm letting the presenters determine what amount, because we really got to feel the audience. The local presenter, who's ever doing that unit, may say, well, I think $20 for this unit because I know, a majority are, financially struggling. Give $20 tonight and you get the patch. Where some others say, I think I can get $40 per family. So it really is geared to whatever that presenter feels that they want to, that they feel that they want to offer the patch at. It's not about the patch, it's about the donation. The patches have been sitting in a box for 13 years, but they are nice patches, I will give that. The presentation that was done last week, I believe, by Justin in one of the units, it might have been Tom Coonrant, but they did a presentation, and the patch was the kicker. People wanted the patch, and they got, I think, $260 in donations and gave away 10 patches or whatever it was. So that was the kicker. They said that was a huge hit. So we're going to continue doing it, and I've got plenty of those to use. And then also directions. Obviously, a volunteer goes out, does a presentation, they get donations. We need those returned as quickly as possible to the office. Because whenever you, especially if you have cash, anytime cash sits out there for a couple of days, who knows what happens to it. All of a sudden, I can't find it. It fell behind the seat. It was stolen from my car or whatever. So we do ask any donation so we can get them quickly processed, get into the council office, or to your DE will come and pick them up most of the time. We will figure out a way. If you can't get to us, we'll get to you. So in the packet, there's also going to be a little audit form. It's a simple one page. You write down the donations, total it up, and that's what you turn in with the donation pledge sheets. Oh, that went too far. How did that video get there? Let me go past that one. So I will come back to that. So the forensics guide, this is the first slide of 4 slides I was talking about. And this matches the script that we're going to provide. We want parents and families to understand what our key accomplishments were, that we are doing something. And so this is just the big ticket items. This is also what was presented to the state, to the status of scouting to the state last week when they were doing some presentations at the state capitol. But in 2024, we served 3,971 youth and had 1,700 volunteers in 146 units. Units recorded 11,483 total nights of camping. We have this amount of, I'm not going to read all these numbers, but these are the significant accomplishments that Friends of Scouting, or the finances that we get, used to support. The impressive one is 29,360 service hours to local communities. We had 89 youth earn their Eagle rank, 9 female and 80 male. And then Scouts BSA youth earned 5,940 merit badges. And then Cub Scouts, of course, they completed 6,500 required elective adventures. That is an estimate because sometimes that was a little hard number to figure out, but as close as we can figure out. And then we've had overall growth 3 years running at the end of 2022, 2023, and 2024. And coming out of COVID in the last 2 years, we've had a 10% growth in PAX in 2024 from 2022. So those are some pretty significant achievements. And again, this is the first slide, or this will be the first slide on a poster board for units to use and match the script. Slide number 2 is what we're going to be doing in 2025 to deliver the promise. And I'm going to pause for like 30 seconds and let you see this list. And by the way, if you see something on you think should be on this slide, please let me know and we'll take a look at it, or on any of these slides or any of this information. Please let me know. But this is what we're trying to deliver in 2025. And I'll move on here. Unless somebody needs me to stop, I'll move on. Okay. And then the third slide is how much should I give? That's always the question. Well, how much are you asking for? We don't necessarily want to give an amount. We want to let people know that every amount helps. Anything that they can give, big or small, it all goes to scouting, and anything is appreciated. But we also want to remind them, if you can give and you have the ability to give, please give as generously as possible. If you don't want to give a large amount, and this is how I remember doing it when I had a family and large amounts were not in my pocketbook, be a recurring donor monthly. And that's going to be on the pledge form that you'll see here in a minute. But be a recurring donor. $10 a month adds up. That could be $120 a year. And $10 a month, most people, as Justin said, maybe that's not having a cup of coffee, from Starbucks one day a month. But it can add up. Obviously, $25 a month is $300 a year, and it's easier for families to conceptualize smaller amounts can add up. Of course, if someone has the ability to give, we ask them to consider covering the annual cost of one scout, $500. And then we also, and if they need information, your employer may match your donation. We have a lot of employers in our area that do matching funds or pay for service or volunteer hours. I believe Boeing is one of them, one of our big employees, our bigger employees in the area. And then we also remind them, all donations are tax deductible. They'll get a letter at the end of 2025. We do all the letters just like anybody else does. At the end of the year, we send them out before January 31st for tax purposes. And then there's also appreciated securities, crypto securities, and gifts from donor. I can't remember what DAF stands for, but from funds that they can donate to charities. But those are all things that we can talk to them about if they need information. Now, I've always heard, even as a volunteer, you want how much for that patch? It's not that you're buying the patch from us. The patch is a recognition item for making the donation. I always try to make that clear. We're not asking you to buy a patch for $600. We're asking you to support scouting and the scouting movement and the local council. And if you donate $600 to $900, we will recognize you with this special patch. So I always try to make that clear. You're not buying the patch. That is the recognition item. But there are different levels of giving. This is part of the 12-year cycle where every year, this year happens to be Brave. I think we still have another 3 years to go after this year. But those that have been donors for the last 6, 7 years already have the first 7, I believe, that we've used, or 8 that we've used. If anybody asks how they can get the previous ones, because it is a 12-year set, we do have those in the office. But we would work that one-on-one with those folks. So you can just refer them to your DE or to the council or to me specifically, because they're all sitting in my office. So the last slide for the presentation that would be given to the units is this. So how do I contribute? Of course, we can take cash, a check payable to the Pacific Harbors Council. We are finding now that 80 to 90% of donations, even when they did the presentation, I think all but 3 came through the QR code. People just want to do it online. It's much easier. We all have it on. And that's just the way people are making the donations, or even doing almost everything now dealing with finances is through QR codes. Well, we do have the FOS pledge card that will be in the kit. If somebody wants to fill that out, where that works really good because they may not want to go online, but all the options are still there that are online are still on the card. Especially if don't want to make the donation that day. There is one option on the card that's not online, and that's to make a pledge and to be billed by the council or to receive an invoice from the council. That is the one option that's on the card. So you can say if you don't want to pay now, but you want to make your pledge now, as you can see, it's right. Bill me once, they can say, twice a year or quarterly. They can make that option and tell us. So if somebody wants to donate $600 and be billed $300 twice, we will send them an invoice for that. But all the information's here. And then, of course, they'll have a pledge card in their hand, hopefully. And you can ask them to fill that out if they can make a pledge tonight or make a donation tonight or whenever the event is. And then we do ask that whoever's making that presentation stick around for the whole event. Don't walk in and walk out. Because some people will hold on to that card till the end and they will see the person that made the presentation still there. They'll want to come up and ask questions that they typically won't ask during the event. But just being available. I personally have I've always had a shoebox or some sort of box with a slot in it. And I always use envelopes, and we can put envelopes in the FOS kit too. And saying, please make your pledge, put it in an envelope because they feel it's more private that way, seal it. And I had a box, it was a shoe box that I wrapped in some really cool paper, shiny paper, made the slot on top and say, after you make your donation, drop your envelope in the box. And that makes it just more private. Instead of just coming up and trying to hand you a pledge form, I always said, don't hand it to me, put it in the box. And we appreciate your support and donation. If you need help creating a box or need us to make a box, we can do that. You just have to let us know. But to me, it just adds a little bit more privacy to it, and they don't feel as pressured, I think, psychologically. But you can also ask them, say, even if you cannot make a donation, fill out the card and say not at this time. Someone just write it right across of it and put it in the box. So that way we can mark that you were contacted, because our goal is 100% contact, not necessarily 100% donations. So as long, our goal is always 100% contact or giving them the opportunity. And it just helps us so we know that not to contact them again, that they've already said no thanks or contact me later, whatever note they want to put on it if they can't do a pledge. So that's pretty much it. We're going to wrap this up, but I want to open it up to questions. But before I do that, if someone does a Friends of Scouting presentation, they are going to get this cool little lapel pin to put on their uniform. So if you like the bling, that's a small round pin, like being an Eagle Scout mentor or something. It goes right up there with the rest of those. So that's kind of the thank you for doing the presentation for us. And I'll open it up to questions. And if there is none, I'll go back and play Rachel's video to close. Go ahead.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One is, will we also have a form for organizations? Because every year, well, not every year, but usually I try to get out to the Eagles Club, 2 Eagles Clubs and a Lions Club to get like a thing. And it's easier for me to go out and bring the form with me. And I don't know if that's going to be in the packet or if I need to contact the office, the district office, to get that.
No, that's a good point, because we have the letter to do the ask, but maybe we'll either make it a separate form or you can use the letter and we'll have it on the back of that form.
I actually go out and do a presentation to them because I asked for $500 from each club.
Okay. We can turn you can use the pledge card that will be in there. They can fill it out, because I do think it does say business on it.
Okay.
Donor name, it could be the business name. Or if you think we need a separate single page form, we can create that. So what do you think works best for you?
Okay. And then I had one more question, which is, I really like the idea of the sealed envelopes and putting it in the box. That makes it kind of fun for them. And I think it's great. But then how do we organize at the same time giving the patches? Are the patches given out right then, or are they given out at a later time?
So the patches that we have to give out is instant recognition. I always tell them Scouts Honor, you come up and tell me you dropped an envelope
Oh,
that
okay.
has $20, they give them a patch. Be very free with the patch. And I like to use the Scouts Honor because then it shows that we trust them.
Yeah, I've never gone out to my units and done the presentation. I thought that was handled by the Scoutmasters or the Cub Masters or something. And I
And
didn't realize
go
the
ahead.
unit commissioner is the person that should be doing this. Is that right?
It can be anybody. If the unit wants to do their own, more power to them. The more familiar the unit parents are with the person making the presentation, the better. So if a unit says, we've got this, like Justin's doing his units, that is perfect because they all know Justin, they all trust him. And if he says that we need to do this, they're going to do it. If I show up and they haven't ever seen me before and start asking for money, I'm not going to be as effective. So it really is something for the DE, the commissioners, and the unit to kind of work out who's going to be the best person to do this presentation. And that's why we're offering the training kind of to everybody. Does that answer your questions, Pat?
It does. And so I think my thought is running into, I should probably call the Scoutmasters or the Cub Masters who I'm familiar with and say, we've got these really great items that can help you do the presentation. Do you want to do it? Do you want me to come and help?
Yeah.
And letting them make the decision on how they want to do it. Is that
Absolutely. That's the
reasonable?
best way.
Okay.
Yeah, get an invitation from the unit versus I'm coming to your meeting and doing
Oh.
this presentation is much better. And I just ask that you let your DE know because we have a tracker sheet and we don't want to double book somebody or have somebody, if you get a unit saying, yes, come to a Friends of Scouting presentation. If
Does
Rachel's
anybody come
available,
out to Gig Harbor?
yeah, Rachel will come out or Trisha. Trisha's
Oh,
online too.
okay.
But we would still like to be there just to have a presence, but we would be sitting down and being quiet. It's just there to support the presenter, especially if they've never done it before. And sometimes questions will still come up that they may not be able to answer, and we're just kind of in the background saying hello to everybody and shaking hands or whatever we need to do as well. Anybody else have any questions?
I'd like to
Okay,
know
let me go.
about getting a copy of the slide deck.
Yeah, we're going to put all of this online or on the website, and we'll let you guys know when it's been added to the website.
Got it.
Somehow I got her slide out of order, so I'm going to finish up with this. I did go long. I was trying to do it under this, but we'll do it under 45 minutes. So once this is done, unless there's any additional questions, I thank you all for attending and appreciate all you do and all you hopefully that you're going to help us to do. And strong council relies on funding, and I think we're moving in the right direction. So every little bit helps. So thank you.
Excited to be talking to you all this evening on behalf of Pacific Harbors Council. Thank you very much for inviting me to take a little bit of your Blue and Gold banquet to talk about our Friends of Scouting campaign. And thank you to everyone who's here. Whether you're a new family or a longtime Scouter, just being here shows how dedicated you are to the accomplishments of the Scouts here and of the program. As you know, Scouting is not just about earning adventures, building Pinewood Derby cars, or going camping. It's about so much more than that. Scouting is about preparing young people for the future. It's about preparing them for the rest of their lives and giving them an opportunity to grow and opportunities for leadership and development that they might not get otherwise. For those of you who don't know, I have been involved in Scouting since I was 14 when I joined my very first Venture Crew. I joined Venture Crew because I saw all of the amazing things that the older Scouts in my area were doing. I saw that they were going on canoe trips in Maine. I saw they were going backpacking in New Mexico. And I saw they got to hang out with their friends and camping trips once a month. And all I wanted to do was be like them. When I joined Scouting, I had no idea that it would have such an impact on my life, and that 15 years later, I would be up here talking to you about Scouting. I did not realize that it would become a part of who I am. I just saw that we were having fun, like so many other Scouts. My very first registration in Scouting was paid for by a Growing Leaders Fund. My very first entry into Scouting was paid for by people just like you in a room just like this who had no idea that they would have a lifelong impact on me, and they probably don't know who I am. but they believed in the program, they put their money towards the program, and I was able to become a scout. This is an amazing opportunity, and it's just one of the things that Friends of Scouting helps to fund. So first, I want to talk a little bit about our accomplishments in 2024 in Pacific Harbors Council. First, if you want to take a look, we have served over 3,900 youth in 2024 with the help of over 1,700 adults, over 146 units in the council. Our council logged over 29,000 service hours in our local communities, as well as a ton of other accomplishments. We want to keep all of this greatness going in 2025 with continuing a ton of our events at the council and district level, like our fall and spring camporees, like the Klondike and the Vinewood Derbies, like day camp and Cub Scout resident camp. We also want the opportunity to be able to keep holding trainings to prepare not only our youth, but our adults to serve our youth, like our Baloo training, IOLS, and NYLT. We also want to keep working on improving Camp Thunderbird, like our new waterfront or adding Adirondacks to our campsites. These are all things that we plan to do in 2025 with the Pacific Harbors Council. Friends of Scouting is our annual fundraising campaign that helps to make all of these things possible. Not sure whether you know or not, but 100% of our funding comes locally. We do not get any funding from the national organization down to us. It all is sourced here. And one of the ways that we do that is through Friends of Scouting. So Friends of Scouting works to support all of the programs you see here. And there is a variety of ways to help with Friends of Scouting. I know that all of you believe in the scouting program, and I know that it can be difficult to give money in addition to what you're already giving to the scouting program, but it is something that's necessary to make our council run. And if you feel driven, every little bit does help our campaign, and it does help the functioning of our council. So there's a huge variety of ways to give I'll talk about in just a minute, and we do have some incentives to give. Right here we are running a CSP, that's the council shoulder strip, the council shoulder patch that you see here. There's a variety of different levels you can give, starting at a $10 recurring donation for the year, and you'll get a ghosted out patch, and it does go out from there with different colors for different borders. We also have the opportunity this evening with some of our legacy patches that I have here. If you donate $30 today, I can give you your choice of any of the legacy patches that I have, and you can wear these on your regular uniform. There's a variety of ways to give. All of you have, and if you don't have one, just let me know at the end, your pledge card here. We have a brochure with some information on the inside, and in the back we have our pledge card. You can give with cash, a check made out to Pacific Harbors Council, or you can scan the QR code on there or up here to link to our website, where you can set up a recurring donation or a one-time gift. Every little bit does count, and every little bit does help. So if you are able, if you feel driven, I just ask that you donate to our Friends of Scouting campaign this year. It really makes a difference. And I want to jump back to my very first registration was paid for by a Growing Leaders Fund in my original council when I was 14. I never got a chance to thank the people who donated money that made that Growing Leaders Fund possible. I never got a chance to thank people who supported that Friends of Scouting campaign. So I wanted to take this moment to thank all of you. I want to thank you for everything you're doing for scouting, for the support you give your scouts and the scouts around you. And I want.
Sorry about this. She cut her last 5 seconds off, but that was just another example. As you can see, kind of the contrast and similarities between what Justin said and what she said. So the goal is really just to make it kind of your own presentation, and we provide some framework for you to go by. Some folks that have been around and doing this for years, just take a look at what we're providing, and maybe you have a better way of doing it. If you do, please share with us, or record a video for us so we can also show some other, some different ways. We don't want everybody to say exactly the same thing. So after that, are there any other questions? All right, well, thank you all for attending tonight. Tricia, if you can stop recording, I'll stay on in case there is questions after the fact. Just let me know. Brandon, welcome.